Can AMD stock price continue to go up in 2024? On today's episode, what I want to do is take a closer look at 8 scenarios that I believe could be bullish for this company for the upcoming year. I mean, the stock has had an amazing 2023 with stock price up roughly 111% as I am recording today's episode. So what I want to do in today's episode is first start off with valuations, then we're going to take a closer look at these scenarios, and I'm going to end with just my overall thoughts. This is very similar to the video I posted yesterday where I took a closer look at why Nvidia could see some downfall in 2024. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
So first, let's start off with PE ratios. We can see AMD right now sitting at roughly 51 if we look at forward, which is the end of this quarter, which pretty much ends this month. Now, if we take a closer look at forward 1 year, which is the next 12 months or so, PE ratio drops down to roughly 35.5. And I do believe that's still a little bit high compared to maybe some of the other semiconductor companies out there. And that's why I think it's important for AMD investors to understand what are going to be some of the scenarios that could be bullish for this company to make them beat expectations and the actual forward 1 year PE ratio be a lot lower than what analysts expect. So I do want to say scenario number one is continue to grab revenue market share from Intel in the server side. And I want to really emphasize revenue because revenue share is more important compared to what a lot of people talk about right now, which is shipment share. And the main reason is because core per CPUs are going up. Therefore, new shipments go down. And that's one thing that we're seeing kind of optimized in the server market, where maybe back then you were getting 16, 32 cores. Now you're getting 60 plus cores on CPU per CPU. So you need less servers. So in theory, the amount of shipments are going down, but what we are seeing is the average selling price per course continue to be stable or continue to grow. So I do believe revenue market share is more important than actual shipment market shares. Maybe some people might kind of see this differently. So this is something important. And in their most recent earnings, AMD did mention that they have roughly 30% revenue share. So they still have numerous growth opportunities and they continue to expand into the CPU market with new technologies, with their partnership with TSMC that continues to provide great node technology and great semiconductor manufacturing and advanced packaging. Now, scenario number two is still in the server CPU side, but this is grow in the enterprise market. And scenario one tends to kind of be focused more in the cloudy market. They do mention that right now, most of the revenue share is heavily tilted in the cloudy market versus enterprise. They do believe that market share right now in the enterprise is in the mid-teens for AMD. So there are, and the main reason is enterprises are a lot slower to adopt than cloud server providers, right? Cloud server providers, they always want to optimize and have the best of the best. Enterprises, they might not need that kind of true efficiency or that kind of high performance on the top level. So it usually takes them a few years, sometimes even 5 years before they adopt into the next generation. So they see kind of slower market there, but right now the company is seeing great indications of growth in the market, in the enterprise market, and they are doubling down on grabbing market share here, which I do believe can obviously boost their overall revenue and help beat those expectations. We can see in their most recent earnings, they did mention that the enterprise wins in automotive, aerospace, financial service, pharmaceutical, and technology. So that's scenario number two. Now, this is scenario number three. And at the end of this episode, I want to kind of talk about where I see these scenarios being lowly, very unlikely, neutral, or highly unlikely for 2024. So scenario three is going to be chiplet advancements create big opportunity. And what do I mean by that? AMD has actually been one of the leaders in chiplet technology. For example, the MI300 is roughly 13 different, sometimes it could be 12 different configurations in chiplet. The MI300 is a super example of their chiplet advancement. So they have plenty of experience doing this. NVIDIA, for example, their H100 is still a monolithic approach. Eventually, NVIDIA has to kind of move on to, I want to say, this kind of chiplet architecture, and I do believe believe we are going to see that from Nvidia in the future. But AMD, some AMD investors are excited that, hey, look, AMD has this kind of public. Maybe Nvidia has it as well, but AMD really wants to showcase their public advancement in chiplet architecture, and this could be a strong opportunity as they continue to innovate in this space. Now, scenario number 4 is going to be another interesting one, but before I do want to say thank you guys for the support. I'm trying to hit 30,000 subs by the end of the year. We have about 10 days left. If you haven't, make sure to hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button. I truly appreciate it if we can hit it. If not, also make sure to check out my membership program for exclusive semiconductor videos on a weekly basis. Check out fool.com/Jose for a special offer on fool.com, and check out my weekly free newsletter at josenaharo.substack.com. Now, scenario number 4 is wallet spending normalizing for CPUs. And right now, most spending for data centers and kind of AI is all focused on AI accelerators, which has put some pressure on CPUs. And right now, we do know that there's going to be some cannibalization of CPU market share, at least in the short term. But it is important to know that CPUs are still the cheapest route for various non AI workloads, and there are tons of non AI workloads. Second, CPUs can be used for certain AI workloads that don't need discrete AI accelerators to really make it efficient. Finally, AI is making things more optimizing, so updating CPUs from prior generations can also do the same by reducing server size. So if everybody's talking about optimizing your CPU is another great way. Now, scenario number 5, I do believe, is the one everybody is talking about right now. Growth in AI GPUs is faster than anticipated. And right now, we've heard from AMD that they believe that the MI300X is expected to exceed or have roughly they say roughly, and sometimes they see it exceed of $2 billion for 2024 based on their guidance. But if we take a closer look at a lot of news out there, based on the shipment numbers online, their actual units could be roughly at least 10% of Nvidia's shipments. So this means that revenue is easily expected to exceed $2 billion. I do believe that's where a lot of this revenue, these kind of market share growth has happened. But it can actually be a lot better than people are anticipating still. The other important thing to note is they do mention that they have plenty of capacity to exceed the $2 billion mark. So we do see that AMD is kind of sandbagging it here with expectations, and this is what can obviously provide some great returns in the future. Now, scenario number 6 is the growth in AI software capabilities, which obviously kind of pushes into scenario 5, which obviously increases their AI hardware. But right now, AMD is increasing their AI software capabilities. For example, we just saw a recent benchmark from them that they mentioned that using their ROCm 6 and a lot of their optimized solutions, their MI300 beats and outperforms the H100 in various scenarios. The company continues to release new AI solutions, not just for the data center CPU, right? We have ROCm, and ROCm is now in ROCm 6, but they also have AI solutions for the data center CPU, for the clients, embedded edge, and endpoints with their Zen DNN and their Vitis AI. Outside of that, we are seeing developers continue to grow here and partner up with Nvidia, with AMD, like Hugging Face and PyTorch, both allowing AMD's AI accelerators to be used easily for a lot of these AI models. Finally, we are seeing AMD continue to invest in AI investments by acquisition sources. Obviously, they are way behind their competitor here in the software market, but they are investing heavily. And obviously, this can be a lot faster than maybe some investors are anticipating. Now, scenario number 7 is the embedded market turns around faster than anticipated. So for those that are not familiar, the embedded market is expected to be down in quarter 4 at similar levels that it was in quarter 3. And quarter 3 actually dropped in the teens year over year. We can kind of see this drop here in revenue, and they do expect that kind of decline as well in quarter four. Quarter one is also expected to still see some weakness, and we probably won't get any more guidance from there until maybe this upcoming earnings. But we do have some bullish cases here where FPGAs and other embedded continue to grow in data centers, in healthcare, in aerospace, and in the fintech market. We can see in the past few months, AMD has announced new press releases and blogs. Now, scenario number 8 is continue to grab market share from Intel in the PC market. And this is very important as right now we are in this uptrend in the PC space, especially for 2024. And then we expect to see some growth in 2025. So we can see how this market has gone from a downturn now to an uptrend here. We can know that AMD is also focusing on AI technologies right now that's also going to boost PC shipments. We can see from this study of Canalys that the PC shipment market is expected to grow by a few high single digits in 2024, which can obviously bode well. And we can see in the past few quarters, AMD might have been losing some market share in the desktop compared to some of its peak of 20.6% in early 2022, but it has kind of been stabled in that 20%. And they are growing market share in the mobility, which is the laptop market. Obviously, they are down from their peaks here that we saw in quarter two of 2022, or maybe even 2021, when there was a huge growth in the PC shipments. But obviously, as we are in a nice turnaround story, that can happen as well, which can obviously boost revenue and boost margins and earnings per share for the company. Those are the 8 scenarios that I believe can happen here in 2024. Now, I just want to share my overall thoughts. Scenario number 1, which is continue to grab market share from Intel in servers, I want to say this is probable. The main reason is we haven't heard too much yet from AMD's next generation server CPU. Their 4th generation server Genoa is doing amazing, but Intel is definitely kind of fighting this. They just released their 5th gen server CPU, and later next year we already have heard about their next pipeline. We haven't really heard much from AMD except that we know that 5th gen is coming next year, but that's pretty much it. So there is the probable case there. Next, they scenario to grow in the enterprise market. I believe this is highly probable as we are seeing a lot of bullish trends here, and that can obviously help the company beat expectations. Scenario 3, where we talk about that chip advancements creating big opportunity for 2024. I believe that is a low probability here in 2024. If this does create any opportunity, I do believe it's going to be more long-term sided than that. Scenario 4, wallet spending normalizing for CPUs. I believe this is somewhat probable. The main reason is because the AI market continues to evolve, so maybe we continue to see wallet spending going to GPUs instead. Scenario 5, growth in AI GPUs faster than anticipated. I do believe this is high probability. They are sandbagging that $2 billion mark. Now, the real question is, we've seen the stock price kind of go up dramatically already, and I do believe most of it is because of that anticipation. Will this company be able to beat those expectations? I believe the answer will be yes. Now, scenario 6, growth in AI software and AI capabilities. This is a multi-year thing. I do believe it's probable, but nothing too crazy here. Scenario number 7, the embedded market turns around faster than anticipated. I want to say this is a low probability. The embedded market is one that I do believe they do have a nice amount of foresight for, and right now I don't believe it's going to turn around faster, but it still has. I do believe maybe quarter 1 might be the bottom when we start to see some growth in either quarter 2 or quarter 3. Now, scenario 8, we do continue to grab market share from Intel in the PC market. I do believe this is highly probable as the company has released numerous new solutions for the mobile space, and we are seeing kind of growth here. So those are my overall thoughts. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.